I just saw you, like we were reunited just a couple weeks ago in North Carolina Memorial 3 Guns. So happy to have you on the podcast here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's a good conversation we had, and I'm glad that we're able to get on.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. It had been a long time since we caught up. I'm trying to think, buddy. I think the last time I saw you might have been like 3 or 4 years ago in Wyoming. And Jason, I thought about it all weekend. I just couldn't place it.
Yeah, it was Wyoming. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so that's actually where I am right now. Believe it or not, I'm about 15 minutes from that range that we saw each other at.
Nice.
That is crazy. How cold is it there?
Dude, it turned today. Yesterday was like our last good day, I think. That was in the 70s. Made it to the range, got some practice in, and today it's freezing. I just saw some snow outside when I was doing some yard work. So it's coming.
No, thank you.
Last good day.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, when we were out there, I talked about how beautiful it was, and then somebody told me about how it was in the wintertime, and I was like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah, it's funny.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you guys talk to any of the locals that, they always talk about the wind? We have like a windy season from like October to April, sometimes May.
Yeah, when I was out there, when I came for the site survey, I came in June. And got out there. All I brought with me was shorts and T-shirts because it was June.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be warm. Yeah, got up that morning. It was like 40 degrees. I went to Walmart and got,
got some sweats.
some sweatshirts and some sweatpants. And by the time it got to about 3 or 4 o'clock, it got up to about 65, 70. It finally warmed up, but it was cold for the majority of the day. It was not expecting it. And the wind driving down the highway was pushing you all over the place. And of course we rented a Jeep when I went, and Jeeps aren't the most stable things out there anyway. But yeah, it was interesting. Very, very, very what I was not used to.
Yeah, the wind on the highways out here is insane. Like sometimes in the wintertime you'll be driving, down the highway, and you'll just see like 18-wheelers lying on their side. Like they just got blown over. It's nuts.
Yep. That's how it was out there. And I just, especially out in the plains when we were going to, I can't remember where we did the Vortex Extreme match, but it was out in the middle of nowhere and just driving down that open highway. Douglas, that's where it was. Just driving down the middle of nowhere in the highway and just fields and the wind just blowing you all around. It was beautiful, but it was crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts though. But I did enjoy spending a week in North Carolina where the weather was quite nice actually. So that was good. Well, guys, we're here to talk about matches. You gentlemen have been putting on matches under the Zoo City Armory halo, I guess, and it seems like you're doing some pretty cool stuff. So wanted to get you on the show and chat about it and explain like what Zoo City is. For me, I'm out west. I don't know what's going on, and want to hear from your guys' perspective what the concept is behind it. So, Jason, I feel like we'll start with you, man, because you are the match guy, putting stuff on the ground all the time, and running tons of club matches. So let's chat about that. So, what is Zoo City, and where did that come from, and what's the concept behind it?
So Zoo City came from, originally it was Carolina Guns and Gear, was a local gun store that bought out the range that I was helping out at. And when they came in, we decided to start putting on matches. So we started hosting local matches and also loading ammunition. My business partner, Chris Brower, and David Hoeing, both of those guys said, hey, let's go into this and let's start loading ammunition, because we were loading ammunition for a few guys. And so we decided to not only host matches, but provide ammunition. And just mainly 9mm is all we really focused on. And it just started going from there. We started with, of course, what most clubs start with is IDPA. And then we went to USPSA, and then to 3-gun, and then to carbine matches. And it just kind of grew from there for us. We're on our range is on 42 acres, and we maximize every bit of it. We have about 9 total bays, 3 of which are for our membership but the rest of them are for competition. And we have a couple of jungle runs as well. And on the first weekend, we run 3-gun. We leave the second weekend open. And then the third weekend, we have USPSA. The fourth weekend, we have two-gun carbine match. And then the fourth Sunday, we have Steel Challenge. And then every quarter, there's a fifth Saturday, we have Falling Steel. So we're constantly either loading or building matches at our place. And in 2018, we started our business doing it. We took over the range from the gun store that owns it. We started renting the range from them, and that's pretty much what we've been doing ever since. And I've kind of gotten out of Buddy and I both, after Buddy got hurt, kind of gotten out of big matches for a while. And then Chris Hutchinson, he kind of talked me into doing another big match. And so Battle of the South was born, or Battle for the South, I should say, was born. And it just kind of started from there. We've been building, or I had been building Memorial. Zoo City had been building Memorial for the past couple years, and helping out here and there with other matches. And so we just decided to do one of our own big ones this past year. And, typical first year match. It didn't sell out, but it was a good turnout. I think we had 136 competitors I think we had 30 staff. So a lot of matches mix the competitors and staff together that up their numbers a little bit. But our total competitor side of it, I think, was 134, and very successful match. No issues, no problems with the match. Any issue was just minor stuff. Any real stuff was everything was. Buddy had a really easy job being it
really wasn't bad.
Range master. Yeah. He had him and John Sherbert had a really easy job, and that's going back to covering that. Whenever we do big matches, Buddy and John Sherbert are the range masters for our matches. They both do a great job at that. They can handle competitors really well. They're good at fixing problems and kind of mitigating any issues. And I'm just in the background flopping around because I've been building the match for a month. They're trying to wrangle me in from trying to micromanage everything.
Yes, exactly.
Because
if I can jump in there for just 1 second, Jason. A big part of the reason that we were able to run as good as we did is we spent weeks going over our rule set, like line by line, and making sure everything was correct, and making sure that we understood it, and making it as, we make it as pro shooter as we can, and playing. And, if you DQ from one of our matches, you really have to do something to DQ, and which most places now have gotten to that point also. But we, it made my job really easy, because whenever anybody had a question, I had something in the rule book that I could show them. No, you can't do that because of this rule right here or that rule right there. And I had several competitors say, "You never once told me because I said so. You showed me every time why I couldn't do whatever crazy thing it was I wanted to do," which was good.
Yeah, that I think is a good practice. I think like the first time I saw that in action was Aaron Hayes at Texas 3-Gun. And he would carry the book around, and he's like, "Well, let's see what the rule book says." He never says you can't do that because of this. He's like, "Let's see what the rule book says," and then you get to read it together, and it puts you on the same side of trying to find the answer, right? And I just gave away Aaron's secret. Sorry, Aaron, but that I think is a good way of handling it, and it makes it much less contentious than 3-Gun had been in the past.
Yes, and everybody's rule book is getting to be where it's pretty. Our rule book is pretty close to Texas's rule book. It's pretty close to some of the other rule books. There's no big glaring differences.
So I was thinking about that as you were talking about developing the rule book and going over line by line. Like if you're starting a match, like why create a rule book? Why not just go off of like one of the, I guess the current sanctioning bodies? We got like 3. So PCSL, USPSA, UML, and then there's other rule sets for, like Texas 3-Gun, Generation 3-Gun, etc. Why create your own?
And we really didn't. We gleaned off of some. We basically did that. We took the things we liked.
Yeah, we're big on options. Huge on options. I love having an options match. I don't like it like every stage to be optional because then you just burn the shooter out. So I like to have a good balance. But when we were developing the rules, we wanted to make it where, like Aaron, and I understand why he does it, but he has the 2,000-foot rule for when you dump a gun. When you dump a gun, it's essentially like you're throwing it off a cliff. You can't go back to it. And I understand why he does that, and that's his rule set. With ours, we're a lot in bays or kind of like at a Griffin Group, where it's a very controlled environment. Where Aaron builds his, it's all natural terrain. Right. So I understand completely why he builds that. He doesn't build that in. But with our matches, most of our matches are somewhere where you can go back to a gun. You can get back to it or dump it, go to another gun, and then go back to that gun. And in previous rule sets, they used to penalize you for doing that. And we don't penalize for that because there's very few stages that I'm going to build that are going to benefit you from dumping a gun, shooting another gun, then going back to that gun you just dumped. That's going to be time-wise going to be, good for you. It's going to eat time because you've got the couple of seconds for dumping guns, switching guns, and things like that. So we like building options into our matches, and that's where like I said, our rule book is built. We also went through, and Buddy and I just kind of went through all the rule books. We went through Aaron's, we went through UML's, we went through like Donnie's for Pro-Am, all the older rule books, the USPSAs, and kind of just pieced together what we felt were the right answers for our matches. Long story short, the right answers for our matches. And because every location is different and every match director and every match is different. So for our matches and the way we do matches, we went through line by line and said, okay, this rule, this is just wording in here that we can eliminate to try to get away from the 74-page rule book that some matches have. And so we eliminated some stuff, and we left some stuff in that the gray areas that always kind of get challenged, and we vetted it. And then even after Battle of the South, after we had vetted that rule book so many times, we had John Harris go through it. He's really good at picking stuff out, and we even found some stuff that we missed in that and went back and adjusted it coming into Fall Brawl. So we've made some changes. Buddy's going to talk about some of those divisional changes on a couple of things, and just stuff we didn't think about at the time. But then as the match went on, we were like, hey, this is probably a good idea. One of the changes we added, and we saw it actually in Donnie's rule book, was the 180 is not defined when you're talking about natural terrain. So we wrote verbiage in there that stated how the 180 is ruled upon in a natural terrain. Then we wrote it in there for base stages. So we have the verbiage in there to cover both. And Buddy will talk about that a little bit because it was actually his. I mentioned it to him when I was reading, like I said, Donnie's rule book, because that was actually something good in there that was applicable because we're building down at Clinton House, and we're going to have 6 stages that are natural terrain and 4 that are base style. So we're going to have a little of both.
Yeah. So as a competitor, I gotta say, like, I do appreciate the not having a 74-page rule book, because if you do want to be competitive and you want to have like all the advantages that the rules allow, it does, behoove you. It does pay off to read all the rules. But damn, like every week you got a new match, or every 2 weeks you got a new match, and you got to read another 74 pages. It's like, shit, that's such a pain. That's why, like, shooting a USPSA match is like a USPSA pistol match is good, because the rules, I mean, they change, but from match to match, they're all the same. But as you were talking there, Jason, like, I was just thinking, like, yeah, it's pretty much the same style of match. They kind of define that. And when you're talking about the differences between going to Griffin Group or going to Carolina Guns and Gear, or I guess what's the range called now?
It's called it's CGG range.
Oh, CGG range. Okay. And then going to Clinton House, like you do need different rule sets a different type of rule set for those because of, like you said, the natural terrain and stuff. And the other thing you mentioned was options. So I like options too, to a degree. And I find that when there's too many options, it just becomes a pistol match. Like you shoot 25 rounds out of your shotgun, and then it just becomes like a pistol match after that. But after shooting Memorial 3-gun of the stages that you built, I do have to compliment you that there were a lot of great ways to use options. But you actually had to think about, like, okay, well, where is the time in this? And there was a couple spots where hot reholster and then going back to your pistol, I think there was like probably one, maybe two stages where that actually made sense. It saved you from running to another position. So there was a lot of thought going into that just on the options. And I thought as a competitor, that was really cool because it did make for a more complex problem to solve on the stage.
And I like to build stages like that. I like to have problem solving going on, but again, I don't want to burn out the shooter. I used to make damn near every stage a option stage, and I found that by the end of the day, everybody was just so smoked. And this was for our local matches.
Pride.
And it just, you're like, God, every stage I got to look around every single corner. And what Christy Connor Tate likes to say is, if there's a damn barrel out there, Jason's got a piece of steel behind it. And
That's true.
I don't want to burn the shooter out. I want him to have fun. So I've learned to, the airplane stage, there was options there, but it was pretty open at Memorial. And then the stage 3, it was very directed where you were going, but there were still options because you could dump shotgun at the triple plate rack, or you could carry it on. And depending on what division you were in is what you were going to do. A lot of open shooters took shotgun to the second dump barrel and dumped it there. And I saw some take it all the way to the end. Then TAC Ops guys, they dumped the shotgun at the first barrel, then went to pistol the rest of the way. So it was, and then the all 3-gun jungle run was very directed. You started with rifle, you went to shotgun, then you went to pistol. And I like to, and that's the way Battle for the South was. I had you some problems to solve on some stages, and other stages were very straightforward. And I like to, like on the long range stages, stage 7 was a thought process stage. You had to think about what you were doing, when you were going to shoot long range, doing the rest of the stage. And then stage 6, you started with rifle, and I wanted the point of that stage to be the long range. So then at the end of the stage was basically, a quick little burner stage at the end inside of the bay. And that's how, when I built matches, I had a young lady ask me, when I'm building stages, how do I come up with the ideas? And I don't ever really draw them out. I kind of look at what I've done at our local matches, and I look at other people's matches, and I say, that's an interesting stage design. What can I do that is going to make it different, but make it in my mind, and not knocking anybody else's match, but making in my mind, how can I make it better than the way they did it? Not to say it's a better stage, but it's just for the environment that I'm working in, how can I make it work? And still make it fun and, make everything smooth. And what I like to tell people, I've said this before, is I like to make every stage like a dance. And there's multiple steps in that dance to hit the spots. And I find that if I do that, people tend to enjoy it better than hunting and pecking, bouncing back and forth, getting, oh God, where do I go now? Where do I go now? If I can make it where every division has a chance to shoot it and be able to, like the TAC Ops division, where they got a spot to load, they got space to load. I just don't make them do a dead standstill load anywhere unless they mess up. That's the way I like to, when I build a match. And Buddy and I'll sit there building, and I'll call Buddy over and say, hey man, what do you think about this? If TAC Ops guys going to come up here, they're going to do this, they're probably going to do this, they're going to shoot this. Then they're going to move to here, or while they're moving, they're going to load, or they're going to dump. They're going to pistol here, and he bounces ideas off me. The contingencies. What about this? What about that? And we're a real good couple when it comes to that. We work really well couple. He's the big
for those
student,
just listening. There's some air quotes on that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the way we do it. And a lot of times when I'm building matches too, why my matches are let me rephrase that. Why our matches are so technical is I start building them like Aaron does months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Memorial and even Battle for the South. Battle for the South was in the second weekend of April. I started building it the first week of February. I'll go out there and start building and start working stages. And I go out every week, and Griffin Group's an hour and 45 minutes from my house. So I go out there, I'll stay overnight. I work the day, stay the night, work the next day, come home, build our match at our place. The next week, do the same thing and incorporate loading into that. The same for Memorial. I started building Memorial. I think I went down in August and built the first jungle run. And I just started going down every week from there, and give Bob Osbeck some props for allowing me to use his camper down there. It's saved us a lot of money in hotel rooms, having his camper there that I could stay on site, go down there and work, stay in his camper, keep working and keep doing stuff. So,
and from one thing from the RO end, when we did Battle of the South, we had all the stages built, like Jason was talking about, from having some time to build them. We had the stages so set that the RO match was like the match for the competitors.
Yeah.
Everything was built, everything was done. It ran through, it ran smooth, everything. And it, because we've all, because me and Jason came up in this being ROs. And we've all RO'd matches where you go to shoot the RO match and the stages aren't done and you're rushing around and you can't get everything done. So we really strive to have everything so that when the ROs come in, it's just like they're paid competitors and they get to shoot their match and not have a bunch of issues with it. And the last couple matches we've been able to accomplish that. So that's a big goal of ours, is to be able to do that.
I think that's a good goal because the ROs work super hard, right? Yes. We all know that. Like, they're out there all day. They have to give good customer service to 130 some to 230 some shooters. Like, they are the face of your organization, whether you like it or not, because that's who the competitors interact with the most. So you got to treat them well and providing a good match, because ROs are shooters too. Like, we're all shooters. We all like to shoot. That's why we're in this. Providing them a good match is a really good thing.
Keeps them motivated, keeps them wanting to work, and that's a neat thing.
Shows appreciation. And I've shot staff matches before where it was like it was definitely phoned in. It was like, oh yeah, you guys just go over there and shoot. It's like, well, targets aren't even up. Like, what are we doing here? And this is taking forever, and we're not shooting the same thing, and this isn't ready, and that's not ready, and that's not working. And it's just like, this isn't like a very nice thing to do to people, because ammo's expensive, time's expensive, and everyone has to sit there and deal with like a crap match. So I did shoot the staff match at Memorial 3-Gun, and I appreciated that it was the same match when I went back to the stages on Saturday and Sunday and Friday. And so, yeah, from someone who has shot a few staff matches, like, I do appreciate that. And it doesn't go unnoticed. Even the staff talks about it. So yeah, I feel like that's a very important thing. So people out there listening, if you're putting on matches, like, don't give the ROs a shit match. Like, they work too hard for that.
Yeah, we strive for that. We want to take care of our ROs. They take care of us. A lot of the guys that work for us have been working for us for a really long time. So we try to take care of them all. So I get heartburn over not being able to have the match ready. I start worrying. And for Fall Brawl, we've got 3.5 weeks now, starting Monday, three weeks so, and I haven't been on the ground yet. So I'm itching to get there. I go Tuesday and start building. And then I'm there pretty much all week. I come back Sunday. I go back Tuesday again. I come back Wednesday. Then I build our 3-gun match here. Then I turn around and go back down again for another 3 days. And then I'm there Veterans Day Friday till the next Monday at least for the match. So I have a lot of driving to do because it's 3 hours for me to get down there. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of moving pieces, and the staff they help out a bunch. The ROs, some of them come in and help when they can, and they give up their time. I've got 3 of my guys that are ROs that are coming down that Veterans Day with me, and they're coming down for the entire time I'm there, the week all the way to the next Monday. They've taken off work and they're coming down, and these guys are just doing it. Not that we're paying them or anything. They were just doing it because they want to help. We're obviously going to take care of them because at Clinton House, we've got somewhere for them to stay and things like that. So we have housing that's already provided, but they're wanting to help support the match by helping us.
That's good. So you said it's 3 weeks. So what are the dates for Fall Brawl?
Sorry, I should have that right here in front of me.
18th, 19th, and 20th.
Yep, 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Yeah. Okay. So that is after the time change, right? So how do you time all the stages? How do you get in a whole match in the fall when there's like hardly any daylight? Like it's damn near dark outside my window right now as we're recording this.
One, you have to go to 3 days. That's the only downside to hosting a match in the fall after the time change. In the spring, when we do Battle for the South, the time changes in March, and we end up having right at 13 hours, I think is what it is. And we can get in an AM, PM, so that's 8 stages a day for a match director. That's 8 stages a day. We can get that in and still have a little bit of time left. When you come into the fall, you're running close to 10 hours, maybe 9 hours. If you take away the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes, because if you're in a jungle run, you can't see that. You really have like 8 hours. So, we're right there at the 9 hour mark, 8.5, 9 hours. So, really 6 stages, if you were doing AM, PM, is really what you're limited to per day. So that's really 3 stages a day for the competitor, 3, 3, and 3 if you're doing 9 stages. And it just, looking at the timing, that's what we were looking at. We had talked about moving it from a 3-day to a 2-day, and I sent out a survey to all of our competitors, and it was literally a 50-50 split.
Oh wow!
Because I understand people don't, being there for 3 days, it's tough. It's tough on the staff. It's tough on the competitors. But because we had set the precedent at 3 days when we originally opened the match, the expectation was already there that we were going to have a 3-day match. So that held weight. So when it was split 50-50, we just said, hey, we're just going to keep a 3-day match, but we're going to take out the AM, PM, and we're going to make it 3 stages a day, which that's what they were shooting anyway. They were shooting either 3 in the morning or 3 in the evening. Now it's just they're shooting, then it was just they were shooting 3, 3, and 3. We changed the format again because we like to make things complicated. And we were trying to be accommodating, not complicated, but we were trying to be accommodating. We had enough people sign up to where a 10th squad could happen. So what we're doing now is we're running 4 stages on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and 3 on Sunday. And then we're doing a like the old shoot-off series, like they do at JKM, like back in the day used to do. We're going to do that at night on Friday and Saturday night. Friday night is going to be we're
mixing. We're mixing open and carry optics. Carry optics shoot together. We're just going to let the carry optics guys fill their tubes up with shotgun shells.
Yeah. Sorry, you lost me for a second.
And then that's going to be on Friday, and because they're shooting dot guns anyway. And then we're going to Saturday is going to be straight tac op shooters, and then it's $50 buy-in. All all the money except for a little bit to help us pay for paint is going to go back into cash prizes for the shooters. So
cool.
It's going to be pretty. As a matter of fact, it opened tonight at 6:00, and I think it's almost full already. It's 16 shooters, double elimination, and there's going to be 3 or 4 random draws in there for the same amount as the entry fee. So you've got a good chance of winning your money back. And
the shoot off is always a good draw, right?
Yes.
Like that it's so much fun. I don't know if you guys saw, but just put out the video on YouTube of the Memorial 3-gun shoot off, all 3 rounds, and gosh dang, it was just so much fun. Like that really gets people excited to do a shoot off. So it's cool when you can incorporate something like that into the match. So you guys have to like truck in lights or what? Like what's the deal?
Yeah, there? I'm gonna get some rental lights, and we're gonna bring rental lights in. And the idea of it is we're gonna start it when it's still light out. We're gonna try to get it started because we should be done with the match because we're only shooting 3 or 4 stages. We should be done by about 4:30. So we're gonna try to get started on that there soon after. Maybe shoot a couple rounds while there's still light, and then we're gonna have lights up for when it gets to the end.
Gotcha. So you just mentioned 3 divisions. So you got TAC Ops, you got Open, and then you call it Carry Optics, right?
Yes.
So why did you guys add that division? Because this has been like a conversation we've been having all year as far as slide ride dots. Like, is there a place for those outside of Open division? And basically, I've looked at USPSA numbers, and Carry Optics is just incredibly popular. Blowing it out. That's a perfect word for it. Just completely blowing it out for every other division. It just annihilates them. Even PCC has seen like a drastic reduction in participation because of Carry Optics. So like what was the start of that? Like what made you guys think like, we need to Carry Optics division here?
So back when Carry Optics became a thing in USPSA, I saw that it was taking off. And obviously I talked to Travis Vogel a lot. And, I talked to those guys a lot. And I had a lot of guys coming up to me. At first, it was obviously the older guys who have trouble seeing. They started off with, hey, Carry Optics is becoming a thing. Can we put it in the 3-gun? And I started flirting around with the idea, and Buddy and I discussed it, and we started at our local match. I'm trying to do this with as minimal impact to the shooter as possible. So what I mean by that is you take our Carry Optics division, which is basically TAC Ops, and we add the verbiage in from USPSA. Must be a slide ride dot, must be between the ejection port and the rear sight, things like whatever the verbiage is, it's in our rule book. But that's what we put in there. And then the shotgun is TAC Ops, the rifle is TAC Ops. And that means that if a guy is crossing over from USPSA to 3-gun, he's already got a Glock or a CZ or something like that he's already got a slide ride dot on, that he can come in where he's already got all the TAC Ops equipment. And now he can go into Carry Optics and run his Carry Optics pistol. And he can compete and not have to buy any more gear because he's already bought it anyway because he's running it for USPSA and he wants to run the same gun for 3-gun. Now we have that division. We do allow, though, 2011s into that division. But it must be a slide ride, must be between the ejection port and must be between the ejection port and the rear sight. It can't be a frame mounted optic. So, or with
no ports and comps.
No ports and comps. And it's still the 140 millimeter magazine, same as TAC Ops. So, we keep that the same. And we do that because Travis and I have gone back and forth on it because he likes the modified division. And where you can, I believe the shotgun goes up to 14 rounds. It can be compensated, and this is a 2-gun, and can be have a dot mounted onto it.
Right.
And I think he even says something about allowing a bipod on the rifle, but it must stay on the gun, I think is what he said. And my argument to that, and it's what he and I have discussed many, many, many times, is now you're making the shooter have to spend more money to buy stuff to feel like they're going to be competitive into the shotgun side of it. And then the bipod's always great. That's why I went to open. Bipod's great. So I've had surgeries on my neck now, and I can only move my neck so far. So now that I've got bags and a bipod, I enjoy shooting again more. So,
Nice.
but for our carry optics division, if we went to the modified, because Travis was trying to get me to test that out, it just forces a shooter now to buy an optic for their tube shotgun, whether porting helps or not on the tube shotgun. I couldn't speak to it because I haven't tested it, but a ported shotgun or ported chokes, and then getting a longer tube to get it to the 14 rounds. So now we're making you spend more money. And that's when we decided to do it. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to take the people who already had the slide ride Glocks and CZs could come out and run whatever they wanted to, and run TAC Ops gear as far as shotgun and rifle, and then carry optics pistol. So we've been doing it now for 3 years, I think, is how long we've been doing it, about 3 years.
Okay.
And it's really done well. We usually have about half and half between TAC Ops and carry optics. Obviously, when Memorial starts coming around, most of my carry optics guys are going to switch back to TAC Ops because Memorial doesn't have a carry optics division.
Yeah.
A couple of them actually, though, Thomas McCaskill, who's a tremendous shooter, he actually shot Pro-Am and Memorial open, but he shot it with a tube shotgun and a slide ride Glock. And it Pro-Am, he finished third.
Nice.
He didn't do as well at Memorial as I think he would hope. He had a couple little shotgun issues. And he also likes running a red dot with a magnifier on his rifle, which is impressive, but at 565 yards, that's a stretch for a 3-power magnifier.
Yeah, and people forget that like those magnifiers make the dot bigger too.
Yeah.
Not only is the target bigger, but the dot's bigger.
Ballers at Memorial.
Yeah, there were a lot of open shooters at Memorial, and I'm seeing that we sell dissonant shotguns. We're a dealer for them. And we have sold, I think, I'll have to ask Land to be sure, but I'm pretty sure we've sold at least 10 or 15 dissidents this year. We've got 4 getting ready to come. I think they're encoding now for 4 of our customers that are coming in. And then I think I have 2 or 3 more that are still getting built. So we've sold a lot of open shotguns. A lot of guys switch from carry optics and TAC Ops to going on to open. It's really, carry optics is really a gateway drug to open. It really is.
I feel like it is too. Carry optics is super interesting to me. I really do think like it is the future of competitive shooting, the future of carry, literally carry. Like I guess I don't have a pistol on the desk here, but every pistol that I have has a dot on it. Outside of my 2011 that I use in TAC Ops. So I feel like that's the future. So 3-gun being like the the race on Sunday, sell on Monday playground kind of thing. I feel like having a carry optics or a modified division in the sport is very, very beneficial. It seems like it's taken way too long to come around, but now that it's here, it seems like people are digging it.
Yeah, we've had a really good positive turnout for it. Now, when people come to like Battle for the South, I think we had 34. Battle for the South, we had 34. I think we have about the same number for Fall Brawl. I mean, a lot of people want to stay where the competition is at. And the competition, a lot of the big hitters are still staying in TAC Ops. So a lot of the guys won't shoot carry optics because they want to be competitive, with the guys coming. So, but then again, we got for Fall Brawl, we got Matt Kalish. He's shooting carry optics, and I'm sure if JP was coming, he would be shooting carry optics. And so you've got some good shooters that have the potential to do really well in both divisions shooting carry optics. I'm not sure what Martini's shooting. I'll have to look and see what he's shooting, but I would think he was shooting TAC.
He seems like a purist.
Yeah, he dabbles. He'll dabble.
He's a dabbler.
He'll dabble. He'll dip his toe here and there every now and again, but then he always goes back to traditional TAC. But But
when Dissident did like a huge service for open in 3-gun, right? Like there's no arguing about that. Like the shotguns before that sucked. It was very hard to get an open shotgun to run. And now there's so many dissidents out there. It's absolutely incredible. But the reason I bring that up is like it took like 2 or 3 years before people all made the jump and like, okay, this is cool, let's do this. And I think there's a tipping point of competition, like you said, because I think people do want to get into the biggest pools and they want to, swim with the sharks. They want to have the stiffest competition. And I feel like in 2 or 3 years, we'll be seeing that movement into the carry optics or modified divisions from TAC Ops. But right now, you're right. It's like, okay, there's not enough competition for me to want to go into that. If there's a TAC and an open option, it kind of dilutes the pool. But I feel like it'll move that way eventually. And if not, we'll just delete this episode and no one will ever hear this.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I think it will be I think it'll be a movement thing that will grow and grow and grow because it's I think it'll actually when I think it'll grow is when USPSA adopts the 2011 carry optics division.
Yeah.
When the limited carry optics division, when they finally adopt that, I think you'll see more people buy more 2011s that are red dot because mine is a compensated gun. Buddy's is a Hayes compensated gun, but one I was running before hit was an XL. I've got one of my hex tacks coming back from McLaren that's just been cut for an RMR, and I'll run it as a backup gun. And Chris Brower's running; he's running a regular 2011. This has got a dot on it. There's a lot of guys that are, at least at our matches, running 2011s, just regular 2011s with dots on them for our carry optics division.
Yeah, if you go and look at the I guess the large, air quote, large manufacturers of 2011s, like they sell just a shitload of guns that have dots on them. And if you go through the website, you almost have to like try hard to find one that is only iron sights. That doesn't offer the option. Like it's definitely there in the marketplace outside of competitive shooting. So yeah, I think you're right, Jason. Like once USPSA finally, and I don't know what the holdup is. It's just like turning a ship. It takes a while, but yeah, I think you're right. One that opens the doors, like it's all bets are off.
Yeah, you can't go to any company just about who makes 2011s now that doesn't have an RDS kind of setup to where it's either you got iron sights that you can remove and put the red dot on, or most of them now are making 2011s where they're modular like that, which is a good thing because the more options you have, the more likely your product's going to get bought and purchased.
Yeah, for sure. God, who was I can't remember who I was talking to about this, so forgive me for stealing a quote, but they were telling me that they were talking to dealers and they said that like they've never lost a sale because a pistol was optics ready, but they've lost sales because pistols weren't optics ready. So I just feel like that's where the market's going. But total side note there, but it does just seem like where the market's going. So it's good that you guys have that option available for competitors. Is that a long blink, or do we freeze him again?
I think we froze Jason again. And that's one thing, talking about the red dot guns, even at work, in law enforcement's going to them now.
Yeah.
The next pistols we go to, we've tested RMRs and stuff for our SWAT team, getting them in our next pistols. We're talking about going to MOS Glocks so that we can have an option to run red dots at work, because they're just easier to teach and a little easier to learn than iron sight guns are. It's a transition.
I think it's been like 4 years ago now that I saw my first Leo with a dot on his pistol. That was like, and it was at TriggerCon, so I was able to talk to him about it. Not a hey, show me your gun, kind of weird, awkward situation on the street. But in talking to him about it, he said like it was completely issued to him. It's not like he chose it. That was what all the people around him had. So
there's a lot of agencies around that are going to to red dot pistols now, just because they're easier to operate. They go to a red dot. It's kind of like having a rifle with a red dot sight on it. It's got backup irons and a red dot. So
it's funny when you mention it in that context. Like, we've all known for years that a rifle with a red dot shoots much better than a rifle with iron sights, but it's really taking so much time to get that on the pistols. I guess it's probably like reliability and ruggedness, right? Is that where the reasons?
And the learning curve's easier on the dot.
Yeah,
I mean, you put the dot on a pistol and you put it on target. Chances are, I mean, even if you're a bad shot, you're probably going to hit at least some of the target.
Yep.
When we tested them a few years ago, when the RMRs first came out, we got a couple of guns to test them with. And the good shooters, it wasn't like a super big jump, but the guys that weren't very good shooters, they made a big leap real quickly with them.
Yeah.
That's kind of
for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. Years ago when I got my first AR-15, like the I don't know if you call it doctrine at the time. You're supposed to learn on iron sights before you get an optic. Get proficient with iron sights and get an optic. And then years later, I was talking to Craig Outson, actually here on the podcast, and he said, no, start people with a dot. He's like, get your shoot, what is it, Rigger Mark 11 teen? I don't know which one they're on now, but get your Rigger 22 pistol with a dot on it, and then teach people to shoot with that, because it, like you said, it flattens the curve, makes it easier for people to learn, and then it's more attainable, it's more enjoyable, and then they're hooked.
Yep, exactly.
And then you make them buy a shotgun, and then you make them buy a rifle.
Right, exactly.
Buy a distant.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just put your digits in. We'll get it for you.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, so guys, I did see the Battle for the South. I saw a lot of footage from your competitors on that, and the match looked freaking amazing. It was probably one of the biggest FOMO matches for me, fear of missing out, where I watched it. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know about that. Why am I not there right now? So it's cool that you're doing a second one. So you got springtime is Battle for the South in April. Coming up in November here is Fall Brawl. So what is the overall concept of doing two matches along with all the club matches? Seems like a lot of work.
It is. It's a ton of work. It's a ton of work. A lot of time away from my daughter. A lot of time away from my home, away from my business. But because honestly, if you think you're getting into doing major matches to make money, you're not. You're not. You're not. But it's a ton of work. So the reason why we do it is because we love shooting. Honestly, in North Carolina and South Carolina, if we don't do it, there's not a ton of matches here as far as 3-gun matches. There's a couple small ones running around, but they're either quarterly. The ones that are monthly are like 3 stages. They're not very big or complex like a larger match would be. In our local matches, I have a ton of people say this, and they've said it since I've been building. And even buddies matches they're like small little regionals whenever we do a local match each month. The upside to our range is I have dedicated bays for competition. So I can go in during the week and take my time, build stages. And I have my guy working there at my range. He's a young guy. He comes in, he beats in nails with me. So we set up stages, and how we do it at our range and how I keep doing all this is, like I said, our first weekend is 3-gun. So that first week I build 3-gun. Well, off of that match, I turn around and convert it into a USPSA match. So the third week, I have a little bit less work. Then going into the fourth week where we have carbine, I've already got a USPSA match set up. So I just pull down all the close steel and put out some rifle steel at the back and add some more paper. Now I've got a carbine match. And then for Steel Challenge, we tear down all the carbine match, and now everything's reset. So when I start my 3-gun match, I've got a fresh slate. Everything's tore down. I just start a new 3-gun match. And every month it goes like that. And that's our cycle. And where most ranges can't do that, they have to tear down. They have to get ready for their customers that come in, and we've set our range up to where we have our dedicated customer base, then we have our competition base, and the only one I do have to take down is our 400 range. So when it comes to building large matches, again, my first week building 3-gun, that's my heaviest week, so I have time to go build these other matches and get stuff done, because we've got 3 weeks to get the fall brawl built. So I'm going to go start going down, making that 3-hour hike there, build, stay overnight, build the next day, come back, go back down the weekend, build some more, because we don't have anything going on this 5th weekend, because all of my steel is actually at Clinton House, so I can't do a falling steel match. So all of our stuff's already down there, because we loaded it onto a transfer truck and took it down there. And then I'll progressively keep doing that over the next 3 weeks, while loading ammo here, while building matches here, and the rest of my life, my daughter, my business, things like that, our range, living, sleeping, some, and then once we get through with fall brawl, we go right into Thanksgiving with the families. And then I get a little break for December and January. Then
we're on Battle of the South.
Then we're on to Battle for the South. And then we come off Battle for the South, and Buddy and I and a bunch of North Carolina guys are going out to Texas for Aaron's match. Then I come back and build Duskin. Let me rephrase that. I don't build Duskin. JK builds Duskin. I help facilitate JK in the building of Duskin. I help him with whether he needs stuff, whether he's got ideas he wants to bounce off of me. I go down there and help him do that, and then he puts it together and whatnot. So I help with that, and then we turn around, and depending on how everything goes next year, we start building Memorial. Then we go right back into the same thing. Is we're in all of that, we're still building local matches, loading ammunition, running our business, and so it's a lot.
Never dull moment.
Well, no, it's a lot. It's taxing.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
And with the fall brawl, one of the things that you got to realize about the fall brawl is we really weren't planning on having this match. The major match that was going to be in November, when they canceled, I called Jason on the phone and said, "Hey, we've got this opportunity. Why don't we try to have a match on this?"
Oh, that's right. That was Benning, right?
Yeah. When Benning canceled because Pure Gold was going to sponsor Benning, so I got an early warning that they were canceling the match. So as soon as I got that warning, I called Jason and said, "Hey, why don't we just do a match on the same weekend at the Clinton House?" And that's where it went from there. And depending on the way it's looking, they may not get that situation righted down there. We'll just keep having matches in November at the Clinton House.
And if they do bring it back, we'll obviously step out of the way and let them and bring it back, and we'll go shoot it.
Yeah.
We won't build.
No
we'll
kidding.
go shoot it.
It's a total bummer, but I guess the best of a bad situation, right, is to put on a match to keep people shooting. So
yeah,
and that's our goal. We're, like I said, we're not anybody who builds a match. If you don't know, you're not getting rich by this. You're lucky to break even, if that. So this is pure wanting to build a match and wanting to have competition. And because I'm a shooter, I build the matches. I don't get to shoot Battle for the South, and I don't get to shoot Fall Brawl, but I love shooting and I love still competing and getting out there. I did shoot Memorial, but I had somebody else being the range master, so I was able to shoot it. What's funny is Brian Nelson and I were making a joke about you have an advantage when you build the match. That is not the case, especially when you build it almost by yourself the entire time, and you're building local matches at your local range, and you're just completely smoked. There is very little.
But Brian's got 20 years on you, right? Like he's just, forgive me, you don't have hair. I can't see if it's gray, but I'm guessing Brian's much younger than you. So
Brian's very much younger than me. Very much so.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a lot of work putting on a match. I think people do forget that a lot of times, but I feel like the best matches are put on by shooters and built by shooters, and the best stages are designed by shooters. And there's the farther I think people get away from actually competing themselves, I think the stages get crappier. And that's just like an observation. And so the fact that you're going to Texas 3-gun, you're still out there competing and stuff like that, I think is really cool, because it does make for better stages, because you know what the market likes, you know what people like, you know what works and what doesn't.
Well, you get ideas too, because
yeah,
I mean, you get ideas from other matches, and going out and shooting other matches. One of the ideas we took last year from 2021, not this past year, but 21, when I went out to Texas, Aaron and Garrison had that one target that was a dead man target. You had to drop the magazine and shoot that target.
Yep.
And we did that for Battle for the South, and we also did it at Memorial with pistol. And that is an excellent way. I learned that at their match, and I took that from their match, and I implemented it into the matches that I build, because it's an excellent way to show that the gun's cleared, so the shooter can use that gun again. Like when we were exiting the plane for Memorial, it was the same for Battle for the South. We shot rifle up there. We did the dead man target. We dropped the magazine, shot the round, and you know the gun's clear. The RO knows the gun's clear. Then you can safely move down the airplane or wherever you're at with that weapon. So going and seeing that, and I took some other ideas for matches from them. Benning had some interesting stuff. They got to implement the breach door before I did, but we had the idea and the same method. Is kind of ironic. We had the same method because Griffin Group already had those breach doors, and I already had it ready to go. But then we went and shot Benning. I was like, damn it, they got to it before I did. They got to show it before I did. But we had the same idea, and it was, we used it again for Memorial, and it worked well. We only had a couple of issues with it, and there were not really any big. We worked it out in the RO match. But there was
we did see some height over bore issues with open shotguns, though.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm not going to mention any names, but his last name might be Gemma. Might have shot maybe 20 rounds at it.
There might be a guy named Dietrich also that may have shot a bunch of rounds at it.
Yeah, there might be a Dietrich guy too that may have shot a bunch of rounds at it. But and there's some other guys out there, you know who you are. But even at Benning, I think, buddy, you actually got lucky and got a reshoot, didn't you, at Benning?
Yes, because I shot a bunch of rounds at it the first time.
At Benning, yeah. I know I watched another gentleman that shoots with us quite often at Benning shoot a ton at it.
Oh,
and
I think Don shot a whole magazine.
Don, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, but it was like I said, going to other matches and seeing how they do things, and then that's how I get ideas. I look at them online and I get ideas, and not trying to be a Johnny come lately or copy somebody, but I can't come up with everything on my own, and I think sharing ideas. One thing we're real big with, and which I try to do with everybody, is communicate. I would rather work together and communicate, and provide the shooters with as much equity as possible for matches, than to have animosity and not work together. Because if there's any animosity between people in matches, then it just becomes into a poo slinging contest instead of what's best for the competitors. How can we build these matches better for the competitors? And I'd rather do that. So I swear, trying to communicate and use each other's ideas. I've had match directors come up to me and say, hey man, can I use some of your stage ideas? I was like, yeah. They're not copyrighted. Absolutely. Please, if you have any questions, call me. I've got ideas rolling out of my head. I'm the good idea fairy. I can come up with all kinds of stuff, but actually implementing those ideas are the trick. And I don't ever use anything in a match, like I said before, that we haven't tried at our local matches, just to vet it, just to make sure.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about having the monthly match, right? Is now you have like a test bed or a sandbox where you can test out those wild ideas and see if stuff works, And you mentioned Brian Nelson was really good at that when they were running matches at TPC. You'd see something goofy on his Instagram feed, and then sure as heck, it was at hard as hell, the next couple months. So it's it is cool, and it's fun to. I think it's really cool. I am not the stage creative person, but I admire like the creativity it takes to put on that stuff. Like I do other things that I guess are creative endeavors and stuff, and so I do appreciate like how unique and different things can be. And I gotta throw like a compliment at you. Like Memorial 3-gun I thought was really cool because I've said for years, like, I don't want to go shoot a club match at a major match, right? You pay hundreds of dollars to go shoot a club match, and club matches are great, but it's got to be something at most ranges, maybe not yours, at most ranges that you can set up in the morning, you can shoot it, and then everybody can tear it down, and then everything's put away by the time you leave, right? Mm-hmm. And a major match, like that's why I unfortunately never got to shoot Benning, but like they would dig a big hole and fill it with water, and now you're shooting from a canoe, and then again, Brian Nelson would build like a bomber on a trailer out of plywood. Memorial 3-gun. We got to shoot from a helicopter. We got to shoot from an airplane. We got to shoot from a pickup truck. We got to shoot from a Jeep Cherokee that was actually driving. Ask me how that one turned out.
Yeah.
And then there was like the concrete shoot house sort of thing. Like there was really cool things that you can't do on your normal range. Like you couldn't go set that stuff up. So I do appreciate that as far as like a competitor. I love going and shooting stages that I could not set up myself in my local range. So I think that's really cool.
That's the upside to Griffin Group. They have a tremendous amount of technicals that we can use out there. The hardest part about that is having the equipment to move the technicals around.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, but thanks to Griffin Group, we were and Austin Truckenbrot. He got us the big equipment to move some of the stuff around, and then I used Griffin Group's big forks that they have, and I was able to move cars around, stack cars, move the blocks around. So it was a lot of work. It was a tremendous
I'm sure.
I had at least a solid, I would say probably a solid month of just work days, at least 30 straight days of work days, from going down there, meeting with John Sherbert, talking through everything, getting blocks moved, getting my stuff down there. I took my tractor down there to Bush Hog for the 3-gun jungle run, and then set it up, and then back and forth with all our steel, because I had to truck all of our steel down on my truck, a trailer. So, $100,000 worth of steel back and forth, and all the technicals and stuff like that there. So it was a tremendous undertaking to get all the moving parts. And I couldn't have done it without Austin. He was absolutely the linchpin in that. He held everything together from me losing my mind and whatnot out there. So he did a good job. And then like the shoot house stage with the blocks, that was actually one of John Sherbert's. John Sherbert built the framework for 3 of the stages out there. And because he does his rumbles and he does his night matches out there. And he built that shoot house, the brick shoot house. He had built that already. Obviously, without that door, he had a different door up. He didn't have a breach door. He had another door. And so I took what he already had, and like I said, taking ideas from other people and kind of morphing them into my idea, and turned it into what it was, and turned it into long range in the front side with the SWAT van off the chain, then
I forgot the van.
Then going, SWAT van off the chain. And what I endeavor to do is, and what Buddy and I both endeavor to do, is at every match is every stage needs to be different. We make every stage different in our major matches, and even our local matches. Like you said, when you go to a match, you don't pay to shoot the same stage over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
You want variety, and like Buddy has said
before, it's
called
Steel Challenge.
Yep, exactly. What Buddy has said before, variety is the spice of life. It's everybody likes something different. You're going out there. Every challenge needs to be something different. I like for every long range shooting position to be different. I like for each challenge to be a little different. And what I always say, when we build matches, it depends on the match where you go to, but long range targets, sometimes they don't take down other long range targets that are out there. I see this a lot in PRS, but you don't see it as predominant in 3-gun, but I have been to 3-gun matches where I was a little confused on which targets we were supposed to be shooting at. Then, they either don't put backers or they don't paint or somehow marking where the target's at, and it just blends to where you just can't see it. I remember shooting one match, and I remember JP leaning up and was like, I can't even see the target. He eventually found it and shot it, but we try to make it to where no matter what, there's a marker or we have a backer. I don't want the backer so big that you can't spot your impacts, but I want the backer there so you can see the target itself. That way it also eliminates painting. If you have a white backer with a black or blue target, the target's going to stay black or blue, and you're going to see the contrast between the white and dark. But I don't want the target backer so big that you can't see your impacts for corrections.
That was the cool thing about Memorial 3-gun is a lot of the impact zones were concrete blocks. It's like, oh, that's really easy to see if the wind changes. What's the concrete dust doing? Yeah.
So you got very lucky this year. Battle for the South, the winds were.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, they were 25, gust up to 25. We were holding a full. If you want to, let's do it easy math here. You were holding a full block width to the right because the winds always blow from right to left out there, and you're just watching the bullet impact left, and you're holding a full block right, and there, but you can see the correct. So that is the upside out there. It's one of the blocks because the wind, you're shooting into trees or you're shooting into an open field, you've got no call. Yep. So the blocks make it nice for a call. And if I didn't have blocks, I had big targets, the full size E-types that they had out there on the Stage 3.
Yeah.
So those are
good for me.
Yeah. It's not, and again, building a stage. So if you want to, for Battle for the South, I posted a video of JP and Thomas McCaskill shooting that stage. It was an all block stage. It was we called it Legoland, and very optional stage, completely almost mirrored left and right side. But then you had long range in there, and with an option stage like that, it can take a lot of time to shoot it if you don't know what you're doing, or you don't have a plan. Not that you don't know what you're doing, but you don't have a plan down, or you get lost. So I said, okay, well, I don't want everybody taking their time on long range. So we put big E-type silhouettes out there. I think the longest shot on that one was 565. And, it made it fast. Now I posted, I did a overlay video with the JP and Thomas shooting the same stage, shooting it completely different. And we're within a tenth of a second of each other.
Oh, wow.
And it was just it was a great comparison of how you could shoot the stage completely different, but still have the same time. And I love stages like that can play to the shooter's strengths. And they can be shot
as a shooter, we
ways.
love stages like that too. Like those are the fun stages to shoot where there's like 3 or 4 good plans and then they end up being really close. I guess like I don't know. Well done. For sure, Memorial 3-gun was
we really
was
like
a blast.
To see that, like when they're doing their walkthroughs. We'll watch the walkthrough day, and everybody's walking it a different way, and they're all going back and forth and doing it. It's like, get good on this one.
Yeah, but those can, like I said, those can wear you out, man. You get too many of those, and by the end of the match, you're just sitting there going, "Oh my God, I'm going to die."
Yeah, for sure.
My head is going to explode.
Well, buddy, we were talking about different divisions earlier. I have a note here to ask you about ladies tack. So what is ladies tack? Is it like the Texas 3-gun style or
yes?
What,
it's exactly. We gleaned it exactly from Texas 3-gun, where we have a section in our rule book where it talks about if we have 5 people in a division, we'll recognize it for prize table and awards. So we have 12 ladies shooting tack optics at this match. So we're doing a ladies tack. Well, actually it's 14 total, and we're going to run them into their own little division of ladies tack ops. So they'll be competing against themselves, which they kind of enjoy. And we're going to use, I don't know if you've seen the videos and stuff of what our awards are for the Fall Brawl. Have you seen that yet, Dave?
I have not. No.
They're belts. They're
Okay.
like
wrestling belts.
That's the wrestling belts. I have seen that. Yes. Okay.
Yes. And we have a ladies tac ops wrestling belt that's coming for them for the winner of the division. So we're pretty excited about that. You know, I talked a lot with Aaron about how they did it and how they run it and kind of mirroring what they do. You know, and it's kind of like Jason was talking about earlier, where, you know, if somebody's doing something that works and we can glean off of it and make it, you know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. We can take some good stuff that other people are doing and drive on with it.
Yeah. Like if your mom's got a good meatloaf recipe, why would you not make it? Why would you try to make it yourself? I feel like the ladies tack, the ladies division thing, it's probably one of the most positive things that I hear lady shooters talk about, right? I don't hear a lot of complaining when there's not a ladies division, but when there is one, they all seem to love it.
Yes.
You know, so I think it's a good thing. And I think more matches could and should do that for sure. They did that at Colorado 3-Gun for the years that match ran, and it had much more participation among ladies.
Well, that's the thing is, you know, we're a sport dominated by men, and you know, you want to talk about you know, gender equality and things like that. Well, I'm more concerned with people actually participating in the match than anything else. If you recognize that a sport that's 90, what's the easy way to say this, 98, 99% men, and you get a major match that has 15 plus women that come and shoot it, I feel like you should recognize that and say, hey, you know, thank you ladies for participating, coming out and putting it in your all and doing everything. And, you know, give back to them for actually having the guts to come out and shoot with these arrogant ass men that like to shoot, you know, because we're all competing, we're all having fun and competing, and it's intimidating for men to come out, much less women who don't normally do this. And you know, I love the fact that the women are coming out. I love it with Christy and Patricia and all the ladies come out when. Man, Patricia just has
we got three.
Jen Card, all those.
We got 3 ladies that are RO in our match.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Nicole, Jen,
and Candy.
4, right? Candy, and then
and Jess.
Jess Foxon. Yeah, Jess Foxon, and another lady. There's another lady too. So we've got several ladies that are helping RO. Then you know, we have several that shoot our locals. Jessica Hook. And Jen Card, and I know I'm forgetting. So my brain is scrambled eggs right now. But
dude,
but
pro tip: never start naming names because you always forget one.
You always forget
someone out.
You're gonna get cursed out about it.
Yeah.
Only thank your mama and God.
Yep. So, you know, we just felt like Buddy and I talked about it, and it was just we didn't do it for Battle for the South, but that was one of the lessons we learned for Battle for the South was, hey, we've got these ladies competing. Let's take a note from Aaron and kind of do something like he does.
Yeah, I think that works really well, and it at least from my perspective, I guess it's a dude talking about a ladies division. So I don't know. I guess we've
gotten really positive feedback about it.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like I only know what I've heard, and so every time I talk to, you know, like you mentioned, Christy Connor Tate, she's a huge advocate for it. Every time I talk to her or any of the other ladies, Lanny Barnes, they seem to like it. So, all right, well, guys, we've been talking for over an hour here. It seemed like it went by really fast, but we'll work to wrap up the show. But people want to learn about Fall Brawl, Battle for the South. Where do they go?
Instagram, Facebook. We haven't built a website for any of these yet because we're just making sure we're getting through the next couple. Fall Brawl, November 18th through 20th. Battle for the South is going to move from the second weekend to the first weekend of April because the second weekend is Easter. And now that Multi-Gun Nats has moved from the first week in April, so we're gonna put it on the first week in April now. So that's when it'll be, and then we'll still be doing our local stuff, and we're still going.
Fall Brawl is currently it's full with, and with a wait list, but if people want to sign up, you always have a certain percentage that have to drop out at the end for different things. So, there is a wait list. If people want to jump on there, we'll do everything we can to try to get them in, but the match is completely sold out right now.
Cool. So pay attention then when Battle for the South comes up, because April's coming quick, and whether you like it or not.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for being on the show. I do appreciate it. Thanks for putting on awesome matches. Jason, thank you for saving my match with ammo. I'm glad you had shotgun shells available. We'll tell that story later. But yeah, Jason did help me out with ammo on that one, and can't thank you enough. So, guys, thanks for being here. It's great to hear what you're up to, and best of luck to you.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.